Good evening, everyone. Welcome to part 3 of our module 3. If you remember, if you have already seen part 2 video, then you all have studied about the remaining part of the memory and some of the IO subsystems like LED 7 segment LED display, relays, piezo, buzzer, and the other parts. Today we will see some other system components. I have just taken up some other system components that are mentioned in your syllabus. So although there are many other systems that are used in embedded system. So one by one we will see each other system components, and these can be asked as an individual question, or they can ask a combination of two system components together for 8 marks. So the first system component that we'll be studying today is reset circuit. Reset circuit, you all are very much familiar with reset circuits and what is the use of reset circuits. Um the reset circuits generally would be required in any embedded system to ensure that the device is not operating at the voltage level where the execution or the device is not guaranteed to give a proper output, or not guaranteed to operate properly. So whenever there is any abnormality that is detected, the reset circuit will come into picture, and it will activate a reset pulse. So when a reset pulse is activated, at that time what happens is the internal resistors that are present in the processing element and the hardware of the system all will be brought into a known state, or it will be cleared. The firmware execution or the address of execution address will be starting from the reset vector. Now what is the reset vector address? That I hope you remember when we studied about the memory mapping in module 2. We have seen where is reset vector. Reset vector address is generally 000 address. Normally that's a vector address. Okay, the reset circuit can be a built-in circuit in a processing element. A processor or a microcontroller can have reset circuit as a built-in, and if it is an external one, if it is not present as a built-in circuit, then we can have an external, or we can have an external reset circuit. The external reset circuit generally is made up of passive elements of RC combination. So you can see that RC based reset circuit is drawn here in the slide, and we've shown it. The one of the reset RC combination we have which will have an active high reset pulse, and the other one is active low reset pulse. So we have the active high, or the reset pulses can be either active high or active low. Now, depending on the values of R and C, the pulse width can be adjusted, and the pulse width should be long enough. It should be long enough such that it stabilizes the internal operation. If there is any internal operation abnormality, the reset pulse width should be long enough to stabilize the internal operation. And as I said, the width can be adjusted by varying the R and C component. This is all about reset circuit. Let us move ahead and have a look at another component known as brownout protection circuit. Brownout protection circuit, this is also a kind of a reset circuit only. It's known as a brownout protection circuit. The output of this is also a reset pulse. It will be a reset pulse. Now what it does, brownout protection circuit, what exactly it does is, in case what happens is, if VCC or the supply voltage goes down to a certain level, goes down beyond a certain threshold level, then the processor behavior may be unpredictable. That means the execution may be an unexpected execution. So to prevent the processor from going into this unexpected program execution mode, whenever a supply voltage falls down beyond the threshold level, brownout protection circuit comes into picture, and what it does is it gives the processor a reset pulse, or it holds the processor in a reset mode in case if the supply voltage falls down below the threshold level. Okay, how is this brownout protection circuit built in? So you can see that the brownout protection circuit is having the heart of the brownout protection circuit is the transistor Q and a Zener diode. So Zener diode and transistor Q are used, these are used as for and certain combination of resistors, of course, for building up a brownout protection circuit. Now, how it works is, what happens is, VCC is the power supply that is there. Now, in case if the VCC is greater than the voltage or sum of VBE, that is base to emitter voltage, and the Zener voltage sum of VBE, at that time the transistor will be in a conduction stage, and there is no reset pulse that is being activated. But if the sum of, or the if the VCC falls down than the sum of VB and VZ, at that time transistor stops conducting and the reset pulse is being given to the processor. So processor goes into the reset mode. And here this circuit is built in for an active low reset pulse activation, or active low reset pulse generation. Okay, brownouts protection circuit also can be a built-in element in a processor, or it can be externally built in. So externally built in is using this passive elements that I have shown in the figure. So this is about the brownout protection circuit. Another important unit or the component that is being used in an embedded system is oscillator unit. Every instruction execution, whatever microprocessor instruction or microprocessor or controller's instruction execution occurs, it has to occur in sync with the clock signal. And from where does this clock signal comes out? When there should be a time reference, right? So the clock signal is basically a time reference for any processing unit, either a processor or a controller that is used in embedded system. And every instruction execution occurs in sync with this clock signal. So we have to have an element that generates this clock signal. You all, being an electronic student, you all know that the clock signals can be generated using an oscillator, and there are different types of oscillator. Lots of different types of oscillators are there, but here in the embedded, the most popular one is the oscillator where we use the resonators, like ceramic resonator or a quartz resonator. In fact, the quartz oscillator unit is the most popular, and it's being used in embedded system. Now, based on the speed of the clock frequency, or the based on the clock frequency, in fact the clock frequency, the speed of the execution also is dependent. What I mean to say is that if the clock frequency is more, speed of the execution or execution speed of the instruction or the processor will be more. But can I increase? And that's very easy, right? We can have the higher clock frequency, then obviously my execution speed will also get increased. Then I can have an oscillator with high clock frequency. That is a good idea, but then that has a limitation. The clock frequency cannot go beyond a certain threshold. So the clock frequency will always, we cannot blindly increase the clock frequency. It will always be at a certain threshold level. Why is that at a certain threshold level? Because in case if the clock frequency goes beyond this threshold level, the processor may not give you a predictable output. That is the reason why we have to keep the clock frequency at a certain level. And another element or another reason why the clock frequency is not increased is because more the clock frequency of an oscillator, more is the power consumed. So power consumption directly depends on the clock frequency. So we have a limitation on the clock frequency that can be generated using an oscillator unit. So this is all about oscillator unit. Even oscillators also can be a built-in in processor or an external one. The external oscillator unit, here the oscillator unit that has been shown here is a quartz oscillator unit. Okay, let us see the next element. We have seen oscillator which was used for clock signal generation. So the next element is real time clock, RTC. RTC is generally these days RTC has come into picture because now the embedded system what we have is operating system based embedded system. So earlier it was only a processor, non-operating system based processor, wherein RTC was not required, oscillator unit was enough. But nowadays, the operating system based embedded system is quite popular, where RTC becomes an essential element. That is, real time clock becomes an essential element. RTC is available in the form of IC. We have integrated circuits RTC. What is RTC basically? RTC is a system which keeps the real time track of time. That means you have RTC holds the information of the current time in terms of hours, minutes and seconds. It can be in 12 or 24-hour format. It also keeps a track of the date, day of the week, month, year, etc., and supplies the timing reference to the system. So the timing reference is being given by the RTC. As I said, RTC is essential wherever operating system based embedded system is there. If operating system based embedded system is not there, then oscillator unit is enough. Okay, so here RTC also supposed to, RTC is supposed to have or hold the information about the time even in the absence of power. So even if the power is not there, still when you power on the system back, it has to give the actual time and not the time in which the system was offed. Okay, so there will be a bit of battery backup internally available for RTC. RTC, as I said, is available in the form of chip and is being used in embedded system as a chip. Last we will study today is a component known as watchdog timer. This is a very popular unit which is being used. This what it does is it is the monitoring system. You can say that it's a monitoring system. In case if there is any abnormality, in case if the processor is not working fine, then watchdog timer comes into picture. Now you know that when you're using a Windows system, if the system gets hanged and if there is some abnormality, your application is not working, what is the most popular thing that you do? I hope you remember Alt Control Delete, right? We do Alt Control Delete just to go out of that hang up state or not responding state, and we end the task or we go to the task manager and end the task. Now that's what happens here in embedded system. We can't do Alt Control Delete, right? So instead of not able to do Alt Control Delete, we have come up with a component known as watchdog timer. What it does is it monitors the firmware execution, and in case if there is any abnormality formed, then or the execution is not happening or the system gets hanged up, then it resets the processor. So monitoring and resetting the processor in case if there is any abnormality is the job of watchdog timer. Now how it does, how watchdog timer does this thing? Watchdog timer basically has a counter. Majorly you can see that it is having a free running counter. That counter can be a up counter or a down counter. When I say up counter, starting from 0 it will count, and if I say down counter, it will start from a particular count and it will go down to 0. So that is what is up counter and down counter. And you can see that this free running counter is in sync with the system clock. So whatever is the oscillator unit, so the oscillator unit the clock signal is going to the processing unit as well as a watchdog timer. So it is in sync with the system clock pulse. So there are two reset signals. You can see what are these two reset signals. One is the reset signal going from the watchdog timer to the controller or a processor. That means in case if abnormality is found, then this reset signal is passed to the processor and processor goes into reset mode. Now if the abnormality is not formed and execution happens in the stipulated time period, then the watchdog counter has to be reset. So processor sends across a watchdog reset signal to the counter. to start the counter once again or to reset the counter. Now what it does, let us take an example of up counting free running counter. So let us say the watchdog timer has a up counter. So what it does, initially what happens is the counter is set at 0, okay, and as and when the processor execution is counter is set at 0, and there will be a maximum value or a count that is holded in a watchdog timer register, okay. So that timer maybe, let me say that let us take an example of 10 milliseconds as 10 milliseconds as one of the example, a count example. Let us just take an example, okay, 10 milliseconds, or millisecond cannot be, or 10 clock pulses, because we are talking about clock pulses, so we'll say that 10 clock pulses. So I say that the count is 10. Now if the execution is over within 10 clock pulses, then the watchdog timer will be reset. Watchdog reset will set across, and the free running counter will be once again start from 0 for the next execution, okay. And if it has reached, counter has reached the count 10 and the execution is not over yet, or the processor has not sent the watchdog reset signal yet, then in that case the watchdog timer sends across the reset to the processor, and processor goes in a reset mode. That's what happens, okay, that's what it happens. So here the counter is set at 0, and it will keep on incrementing until it reaches the highest count, and if it reaches the highest count, it will send the reset pulse, and if the execution is not done within that highest point, it will send a reset signal. Else if the execution is over, then the watchdog reset will get activated, and the counter will once again start from 0 for the next execution. That is what happens in watchdog timer, okay. If watchdog timer can also be a built-in or an external element. If it's a built-in element, then we have in the processor, it can be a built-in element. Then it has a status register. Status register is used to control the watchdog timer, and we have a watchdog timer register to read the count or to feed in the counts. As I said, if I say 10 clock cycle is the count, then this count has to be saved somewhere. So it is the watchdog timer register where this count will be saved, okay. And if it's external, the external watchdog timer is shown in the figure. So this is all about what we are going to learn today. So today we've gone ahead and seen 5 different components: reset circuit, brownout protection circuits, oscillator, real-time clock, and watchdog timer. So as I said, this can be asked as a separate single question. Watchdog timer and a brownout circuit is a very popular question. So this is very important, watchdog timer and brownout, although reset and oscillator circuits are also being asked in some of the question papers, but you can consider brownout protection circuit and watchdog as a important one. The only remaining concept in this module is now the communication interface, but the communication interface have lot of concepts, sub concepts present. So we will take another 2 parts of video to complete the communication interface. Thank you very much.